Good afternoon. My name is Paul Andrews, and I'm presently working at University of South Wales. I'm the head of their Centre for Digitally Enhanced Learning. Well, I am at least for the next 4 weeks. And then I get a big pot of cash and I run off into the sunset. So the purpose of today is to basically highlight to you some free tools that you can use on your computer, on your tablets, on your smartphones, that you may wish to use to make your life a little bit easier. Now, I have been asked to give a disclaimer that everything I'm going to show to you today is nowhere endorsed by the University of South Wales. Okay, I've got to make that very, very clear. So, everything I'm going to show you today, what I would say is please don't put any sensitive or confidential information on any of the systems I'm going to show you today. It's just kind of, that's the health warning, basically. So, don't put anything confidential on these systems, but I've been using them for the last 5-6 years and they've never let me down. So, okay. So yeah, that's my name there. If you are on Twitter, if you like to use Twitter, that's my Twitter handle there. You can, if you want to ask me questions after this or during this, and I'll respond to all the questions that get asked me via Twitter. And the only thing you need to write down today is this little thing here. You can even leave off the http / bit if you want to, and just write down bit.ly/USW bridges. And if you type that into your web browser, your tablet, your smartphone, your games console, whatever it is you use to get onto the internet, you will come here. And everything I'm going to show you is all listed on this page. So it's going to take around about, we will finish on time, about 45 minutes. Feel free to ask questions, participate. If I'm not showing you something that you really wanted to know how to do, again, let me know. I'm quite happy to go off at a tangent. That's not a problem at all. Okay? Right, so make a start. So what I've done is I've basically put in a little table on here, rather than doing a PowerPoint or what have you, that basically says, right, can you all see that at the back, by the way? Is the writing big enough? Yeah? Okay. Quick tip, if you're ever on a computer and the writing's not big enough for your audience members, on a Windows computer, hold down the control button, push the plus key, and the font gets bigger. And you push the minus key and the font gets smaller. So it's quite handy if you're ever giving presentations to people. Little tip. So what I've done is on this table here, it says, what do you want to do? And then the idea is you say, I want to do this, that, or the other, and it then suggests to you a tool that you could try, and it tells you what it works on. Okay? So I'm going to go through these in order. The first one I want to show to you today is a tool called AnyDo. This is the AnyDo website. It's all quite arty and stuff. But basically, what AnyDo lets you do is it lets you create a to-do list. Okay. Now, I have lots and lots of things to do for my job and for the other bits and bobs I do outside. So what I've basically got is I've got a free app, which is the AnyDo app. And if you've got an iPhone or an Android phone, you get this app for free. And this lets you create to-do lists. And you can sort your to-do. If you want to jump onto the App Store now, you can do. Feel free. Just search for any.do and you'll find it. It's a free download. This lets you make free to-do lists. And how it categorises it. The things you've got to do is like this. It says things you're going to do today, things you're going to do tomorrow, things you're going to do at some point in the future. That's it. So it's really, really simple. And the idea is you just put things into this AnyDo on your phone, and because it's all online and connected, it backs that to-do list up. So you can access it on your computer, you can access it on your tablet, you can access it on your smartphone, but it's the same to-do list that's following you around. And then when you complete a task, you click it, and it then vanishes from your to-do list on all of your devices that are connected. Now, there are lots of different to-do list managers you can get, but the reason why I like AnyDo is this. At 9 o'clock in the morning, or 10 o'clock if you wanted to, it will ask you to just pause for 2 minutes and plan your day. And it will say, these are all the things that you've got in your to-do list at the moment. Do you want to rearrange any of these? And you can say, yes, I do. It will also scan your calendar. If your calendar is synced up to your phone, after every meeting you have, it will pop up and go, you've just had a meeting. Anything to remember? And you say, yes, I've got to do this and the other. If someone phones you on your smartphone and you've missed that call, it will pop up and say, Joe Bloggs just phoned you. Do you want to call them back now or later? I'll call them back later. And it will remind you later in 10 minutes, an hour, tomorrow, to call them back. So it's like having a little personal assistant, which is great. So I've been using AnyDo for about a month now. It's by far the best task manager I've ever seen. And for those of you who use Google Tasks, it integrates and synchronises with your Google Tasks as well. If you use Google Mail, it's got Google Mail integration as well. So, yes, you do have a task list on Microsoft Outlook, but I would say if you do like to-do lists and task lists, give AnyDo a look, because it's hey, come on in, you're right. it's well worth just checking out, even if it's only for 5 minutes of your time. But say, I just had a dabble with it, and I found myself using it non-stop now because it's rather good. You can also organise tasks into folders as well. So if you've got a particular project, you can say, right, all my tasks for this project are in this folder here. But it's very, very simple. It's very, very easy to use. They're about to release a calendar interface, their own calendar functionality as well. So at the moment, it looks like your calendar. That's going to come out shortly. But say if you do find yourself kind of like making endless lists of things to do, or lying in bed at night thinking, oh God, I've got to remember this in the morning, check out AnyDo, because it means I can just dump everything in my head onto that and then forget about it and go to sleep. Okay, so that's becoming a bit more organised. Next thing is taking notes and accessing them on Works kit and on your kit at home. I see an awful lot of people with iPads using the built-in note-taking application to make notes. But the problem with that is those notes are saved on the iPad, and if you want to get them off the iPad, you have to kind of email them to yourself or copy and paste them. A more elegant solution is to use something called Evernote. So Evernote, basically what Evernote lets you do is, Evernote is a note-taking application, and it works on pretty much any device that connects to the internet. And again, just like AnyDo, if you make a note on Evernote, it's synchronized across all of your devices. Evernote notes can contain text, they can contain sound, video, pictures, clippings from the internet. So it's a really good research tool if you want to get involved in that sort of thing. But the main use that I found for it here is for clearing out people's inboxes, because email archiving seems to be the bane of most people's existence. So what Evernote lets you do is archive all of your emails, and it stores them on its system. Now, because of data protection, you think, hang on a second, I don't want those emails being off on some remote web server somewhere. So you can say to Evernote, for these particular notes, just keep a local copy on this machine, which is in the physical building in the university. But the point is this, you can archive all of your emails or using Evernote, and then search them anytime you need access to them. If you start archiving your own personal emails, though, the beauty of that is you can grab that on your phone, on your tablet, on your games console, or anything else you want to use. The other nice thing that Evernote does is this text recognition. If you take a photograph which has got text in it, it will recognise that text that's in the photograph. If you then type in the words in the text search, it will find all of the images that contain the word you just typed in. So that means if you have things like business cards or signs to remember, or anything really, recipes, you can just take a photograph of them and put them in Evernote, and then you haven't got to do anything special. Like 6 months down the line, you can just start typing in something, and it will pull up that photograph of that business card, that recipe, that sign, whatever it is you wanted to take a photograph of. Evernote comes with free and premium accounts. The free account does limit you to the amount of data you can upload in any given month. Having said that, I've been using Evernote for 4 years. I've never ever maxed out my upload limit, and I used Evernote to do all of my master's work. All of my notes went on there, all of my research, and never maxed out, even when I was writing my dissertation. So you'd have to be going some to max out the limit. But as a note-taking application, because it works on the iPad, on your phones and everything, you can make notes in a meeting on your iPad and know full well that by the time you sit down at your works computer, those notes are going to be ready for you on your work computer to do something with. And once you've made those notes, you can export them very, very easily and put them in Microsoft Word if you've got to type something up for a report. You can even collate several different notes and put them all together into an email. So I'll give you an example of how I used this a couple of years ago. I was line managing some staff, and I had some performance issues. And so HR said to me, right, you've got to make lots of notes and this, that and the other. So I made all these different notes on Evernote. And then when I had to then present the case, rather than then going rummaging around and getting all the notes, I was able to say to Evernote, right, give me all the notes I've made on Joe blogs, put them in chronological order for me, and then put them all in one document that I can then email. And the whole process took 25 seconds. Rather than, oh Christ, I've got a bit of paper over here, and an email over here, and a photograph of them making something over it. It makes your life so much easier. And it's dead simple. Honestly, I've been showing students how to use it for the last 4 years. They love it. It's really, really simple. Now, all of this stuff is, if you're comfortable with using Microsoft Word or sending an email, absolutely fine. It's not technical in the slightest. Some of the more advanced features, there are really whiz-bang things you can do with it. But for simple, I'm going to make a note, take a photograph. It's dead simple. But again, if you've got a smartphone or a tablet, you can go onto your App Store now and download it completely free of charge.
So with the Evernote, you don't go to Evernote and write a note. You go to Words and write a note and put it in.
You've got options. You can go into Evernote if you want to and write it in Evernote.
Right.
I do that. I go to the gym, as you know. All of my gym routines are on my Evernote. So if I up the weights or whatever, I then go into my Evernote and I change them live and then hit send and it's saved. However, sometimes I'll be sent a document, a Word document or a PDF file. I then just drag and drop that into my Evernote, and then that's stored as that file, and I can access that. So if I'm doing a particular project, I'll have how Evernote works is it basically it gives you lots of imaginary ring binders, and you give each ring binder a name, and in each ring binder you put all the notes. Imagine you put them in Polly Pockets and shoving them all in. That's basically what you do. So I've got like an exercises one, I've got a work one, and I've got one for each project sort of thing. But yeah, you can drag and drop things off the internet, you can type things in, copy and paste. And you can pull things out very easily as well back into.
Have you got Dropbox? You can write to that, can you?
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, I'll come on to Dropbox in a second. The main difference between Evernote and Dropbox is Evernote's primary function is to allow you to take all of the random stuff that goes on in all the different formats and just throw it into one magic box and say, "Look, organise it for me." But obviously when you come to take it out again, they'll still be in that format of a picture and a video and a this and that. But I tend to use Evernote really as like a big digital scrapbook. That's how I tend to use it. So like when I was on my master's course, I'd have like PowerPoints and lecture notes and articles and this and that. And then the nice thing it allows you to do is you can tag each of these things as well. So if you imagine you've got like 5 different notebooks, each with notes in. But in each notebook, you might have a particular note that relates to, I don't know, kittens, say. So you might be doing, I've got a lecture on kittens there, I've taken a picture of a fluffy kitten there, and I saw a sign about kitten, but they're all in different notebooks. You can tag each of your notes with different labels. If you imagine like, if you had a lever arch file, those funny little fluorescent things you can stick on bits of paper, kind of stick out the side. It's like that. And you can say to Evernote, "Look, can you get me all the notes across all my notebooks about kittens, please?" And it goes, "Yeah, no problem." Boom, boom, boom. Collects them all. There you go. It's very, very powerful. Yeah, if you want to, you can print it out or you can copy and paste it, do whatever you like. The other really neat thing it does is if you've got a fancy phone with GPS, it will GPS tag the notes you make. So you can say to it, "Evernote, give me all the notes I made on the 25th of June when I was in London." Boom, done. So if you're at a conference and you've scanned a load of business cards in, you can say to it, "Give me all those business cards based on the physical location I was in, or the date, or any combination of the two," and it will give you all that stuff back that relates to that particular location. But so as a free service, it's fantastic, and I couldn't have run my department without Evernote. I couldn't have done it, or I'd have probably gone insane. So given the choice, I'll go for Evernote rather than the loony bin. So that Evernote's completely free of charge. Again, it's worth checking out. There are loads of different videos on YouTube, by the way, that tell you how to use all of this stuff. So if you kind of download it and go, "Geez, I'm not sure about this," hop onto YouTube and do a search for how to use Evernote, and you'll find tons and tons and tons of stuff. It's all out there. Okay, move on. Right, I've got 3 to show you now about ditching the USB stick. I still see a lot of people carrying really important files around on these USB sticks. And when those USB sticks get damaged or lost or stolen or eaten by the dog or whatever it might be, it causes a lot of anguish and upset. And I have at least one lecturer every single... I've been telling people about Dropbox for 5 years. Every single year I have someone that says, "All my files are on my stick and I've lost them, can you do anything?" I'm like, "No, sorry." If the dog's eating it, wait for a bit and get a pair of gloves. But other than that, no. And I'm not fixing that one. So essentially, these are 3 different systems which give you a network drive, like you've got in work, but on the internet. And they let you save files to this network drive and receive files on that network drive. And it works on any internet-enabled device. So again, there are free apps that work with these 3 things. So you can save a file on your computer and access it on your phone. You can take a picture of your phone and save it, and then access it on your computer. So some people, like they'll take photographs on their phone, they go, oh, I need to get a cable to connect it to get the photographs off. If you use these systems, you don't have to. You say to the phone, put that photograph in one of these 3 storage areas, and then it automatically appears on your computer, or your tablet, or your games console, or whatever it is you're going to use. So I'm going to show you 3 videos, and then I'll kind of explain to you the main difference between the 3. You probably only need to use one, but the first one I'll show you is Dropbox, which is probably the most famous of all of them. The idea, put simply, is it's a network drive, it's a folder that stays with you across all of your devices. If you install it onto your smartphone, it will give you the option of automatically backing up every photo that you take straight away to your Dropbox folder as well. You get 2 gigabytes of storage with Dropbox out straight away, but if you refer your friends to it, you can get extra space. Now, I've been referring people to Dropbox for the last 4 years. My Dropbox is currently 42 gigabytes. So you can expand it if you want to. Typically, what happens every year is they do this thing called, there's a student race, and every university puts a special link out, and every student that signs up on your university link, you get space, and students get extra space as well. I think it's called the Space Race, and it probably starts in September. But Dropbox, again, it's completely free. There are paid for, you can up your account if you want to, and if you pay them money, you get more space. Something like $5 a month, which is about £3.30 something, will get you a 100 gigabyte Dropbox folder. Having said that, 2 gigabytes is pretty hefty. I mean, if you're just storing, Word documents and PDFs and things. If you're storing videos, it does get a bit more intensive, but you probably don't want to put your videos on Dropbox. With that, you're better off putting them on YouTube and setting them as private, and then you've got to worry about storage space. About what, sorry? iTunes. Now, yes, you can. Now, there are articles. This has been done. It is possible to have iTunes use your Dropbox folder as its default location. And then if you do that, it's a little bit of work involved, but if you do that, it means if you've got 2 or more machines with iTunes on, you can have them pointed to the same Dropbox folder and keep everything synchronized. So yeah, it can be done. There are guides on that. If you Google kind of Dropbox plus iTunes, there are guides on sites like Mashable and Lifehacker which talk you through how to do it. It's a little bit, but take about 10-15 minutes, but it can be done. And yeah, it's very handy if you have it with iTunes. So now the main thing that Dropbox doesn't have is the ability to edit the files itself. All Dropbox is a folder which you just chuck stuff into. What you can't do with Dropbox is edit the files. So if you want to edit the files, you'd have to open them up in Word, PowerPoint, Publisher, whatever it is that you're using to edit that particular file. But the next 2 systems I'm going to show you can edit files. So Dropbox came out first, again about 5 or 6 years ago now, and then Google responded with something called, it used to be called Google Docs, but now it's called Google Drive. Google Drive is a phenomenal tool. Now, what Google Drive lets you do, actually, I'll show you my Google Drive. It gives you, again, like an online network drive. This is my Google Drive, with all my folders in. I've been using it for, again, about 4 or 5 years. There's a lot of stuff in here.
What's Electric Sheep then?
Electric Sheep is the podcast I do every week. It's about it tells me about, well, it's this basically, but it's in audio format. But the nice thing about this is that if I go for recent, now Google has a built-in editor for documents, which means if you want to edit, bless you. Let's say, here's I'll show you my business plan for my business I'm about to launch. This is my live business plan. No, I'm talking rubbish. That's not my live business plan. What's my business plan? That's the market research. It's that one there. What Google lets you do is it gives you a web-based version of Microsoft Word. So you can edit documents without having to have Microsoft Word installed on your computer, that's okay. But the beauty of this is, because it's online, you can edit you can give this link to your colleagues or your family or your friends, and they can edit the document at the same time as you or at different times. And if they do it at the same time as you can actually see their cursor, every cursor is coloured, you can see what they're typing. And so if you combine this with a service like Skype that lets you talk to people and see people when you're chatting to them, all of a sudden you can work collaboratively on word processing documents, spreadsheets, presentations, easy peasy, for free. It just works. And I've run my department here in the last 2 years, we've run it exclusively on Google Docs. We haven't touched Microsoft Office at all. Because it's slow and it's clunky and it's got too much stuff on it that no one wants to use. This is slick, clean, it just works. And it works just like you'd expect Microsoft Word to. It's got format tools, you can make things bold, you can set automatic contents pages, you can change the margins. The only thing it doesn't do very well is if you've got a document you've already made in Microsoft Word and use tables, it doesn't translate that very well. You can throw any document you like there and it'll convert it to a Google Doc for you. But I'll give you something else that you can use if you're in that position where you've uploaded a document and the formatting's gone a bit squiffy. But the nice thing about this is, like I say, you can do spreadsheets. This spreadsheet here. Now the other thing is you can also do presentations as well. So this is a presentation I've made at the moment. Looks a bit weird because what I've actually done with this is a presentation that I've published to the internet, and I've told it just to publish this to here, and then these slides become a rotating banner on my website. So you can publish, but it does mean that if you want to give presentations to people who aren't physically in the room, again you can say to them, no problem, jump onto Skype so I can hear and see you. Here's the link. I'm now going to talk you through this presentation. And you can present it just as if you were sat in the same room as them. One of the nicest things that this lets you do, though, is Google also lets you create online surveys for free. And what Google lets you do is basically you can make as many online surveys as you like, and they can be simple surveys, or they can be quite sophisticated branching surveys. If a person asks, if you ask a person a question, if they give you a certain response, you can say, right, I'm not going to show you that bit of the questionnaire, I'm going to show you this bit. But the nice thing is you can publish these things online, and then what Google will do is it will put all the results in a spreadsheet for you, and then it will, where are we? Show some of the responses. It will graph and chart the data for you live as it comes in. Completely free of charge. And again, we've been showing students how to do this for the last 5 years. They absolutely love it, because especially if a student has to do some data collection, some research, but they're not a maths expert, they're studying sports or something, they don't want to be faffing around with figuring out how to do pie charts. They just want the data and the information. So we say, well, do this, and then it's all done for you. Then you can spend your time more productively analysing that data, rather than faffing about with SPSS and getting things into tables and graphs and charts and all that kind of business. So the other thing this can be used for as well, which is quite nice, I haven't got time to go into something called Google Sites, but you can combine this with Google Sites to create a live dashboard. So with my department, what we have is all of our training data goes into a spreadsheet. I then told it to create live charts based on that training data, and those live charts are then published to a special web page which my manager has access to, and her manager. Which means if ever they wanted to know how we're getting on, rather than hassling me all the time, I say, go to that website at any time you like, you'll get a live update in graphical format of how we're doing, how many people we've trained, where they are, what campuses they're on, all that kind of stuff. So it took about half an hour to set up, but then it means I don't have to worry about that, and I can get on with doing proper work, rather than faffing around with spreadsheets and data and write reports and all that kind of business. So it's a very, very powerful tool. So you can use it like Dropbox if you want to, just to store your stuff, but Google Drive is wonderful, and again, I couldn't have run the department how I've run it without it, basically. And I haven't touched Microsoft Word for 2 or 3 years now, or PowerPoint, or Excel. However, some people say, hang on a second, I like Microsoft Word, thank you very much, I've been using that for a long, long time, it's what I know. And so what we've got here is a solution called Microsoft Skydrive. This is Microsoft's response to Google Drive. Okay. Now, Skydrive in its original form was technically out before Google Drive, and it used to be very similar to Dropbox. But what Microsoft have now done is they've integrated web-based versions of Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So you can edit Word, PowerPoint, and Excel files using Skydrive, and it retains the formatting. So remember I said before, if you try to put in a document with lots of tables, sometimes it doesn't like this. Stick it in here and it works flawlessly. The downside is this is much slower than this. This is lightning quick, but this will keep all your formatting.
Could you give me how Hotmail account, then you don't have to buy Microsoft Office.
That's correct. You no longer need to buy. Don't spend any money on any software ever again. Just stop it. There is no point, honestly, because yes, you need an internet connection, but as long as you've got an internet connection, these things work. Google Drive lets you edit files on your phone as well. You can't do that with Skydrive at the moment. So you can have a document and pull it out of the bus stop on your phone, just make some quick changes to it and save it, and it's done. I'll show you a little video that talks about Skydrive. Yeah.
With the Evernote,
Yeah.
can you store the files the same as you can with Dropbox, or is Evernote just
Yes, Evernote stores your files within the Evernote system, but they're all online.
Right.
So you can access them by logging into your Evernote account anywhere at all. So the difference is, to get to your Evernote files, you've got to go to Evernote and open up those particular folders. You've put them in within Evernote.
Yeah.
Whereas the other systems function just like a folder on your computer, as it would normally. But that's the only real difference between them. So this one's a minute long. So the interface for this thing is very, very similar to mine. It's a bit blurry on that. It's better if you watch the video on your own computers. But the interface is the same as Microsoft Word, and it retains all the formatting. And you can save documents as Word files or PDF files if you want to as well. So yeah, if you try Google Drive and think, this isn't for me, give Skydrive a whirl. Again, you get lots of free online storage, and you can edit your files if you want to as well. Okay, so yeah, three ways of ditching the USB stick. I've got 5 minutes left. So the last thing I'm going to show you...
Which of those three would you pick then?
Personally?
Yeah.
Google Drive. Every time. Purely for the functionality. The ability to create online surveys alone is worth its weight in gold, because you can pay companies like Poll Daddy and SurveyMonkey silly amounts of money, and it does it all for free. So yeah, the other thing I like about the Google thing is, I'll come to Google Sites in a second. Like my resume is on Google Drive and it's live, which means I can send people a link to my resume, and if I want to update it, every time they click on that link, they'll get the latest version rather than having to say, here's another version. It's always the latest version. The other nice thing that this does, it keeps every single edit that everyone's ever made on the document. So if you are collaborating with a group of people, and you've got someone a bit special in your group, and they decide to delete everything, or whatever, you can actually say to Google, for crying out loud, can you just show me what they did? So we know it was them, so we can point at them and laugh at them and make them feel silly, and then revert it back to how it was before they went in and started smashing everything. So it gives you lots of trackability, lots of accountability as well. But I'm working with several schools at the moment on Google Drive as well to take their systems, things like grade trackers and stuff. We're doing it all through Google Drive because it automates everything. So yeah, it's very powerful. Okay, so the last thing I'll show you is, and I could spend the whole afternoon on this, Google Sites. So what Google Sites lets anyone do is create any number of different websites for any purpose in the world. And these websites can be public or they can be private. This is my website. I've been running it for, over 5 years now on Google Sites. It's never had any downtime, ever. And you can put, you can put pictures on it. You can put, let's go to education for a second. You can do some really nice things with. That's that PowerPoint I was telling you about. That's now embedded, so it kind of scrolls every 10 seconds. Text, images, graphics, videos, you name it. You can do it all on here. So if I click on the video overview, it should, here we go, take me to here where I've got a video which is then embedded from YouTube, and it's pulling it all through. Now, the nice thing about this is if you have a club or a class or a project or anything at all, you can create a private, secure Google site for it and say to all the people who are involved, if you go to this one place, you will find all of the information relating to this particular project or club or activity or project or whatever it might be. And you can pull together all the stuff I've been telling you about today, from things like Evernote and Dropbox and Google, all those different files, you can pull them all together and present them in a nice, digestible way for the rest of your team or your colleagues or the other people in your club. You can also use Google Sites for education. It's being used all over the world right now. In terms of, and actually Google offer their own free, what's called Google Apps for Education. It's completely free of charge. You can turn around and create a virtual learning environment or a class website or whatever it might be, just straight away. And again, you can edit these things on your iPad, on your smartphone, on your Mac, on anything at all that you want to. So if you've ever kind of fancied thinking, oh, I quite fancy making a website for something, no technical skills required. You literally click edit and you start typing. It's just like Microsoft Word. You want to put a picture in, you put insert picture, and it says where's the picture? You go, it's there. It says thank you very much and puts it in for you. So Google Sites is the idea behind that is I've shown you various different things. We've looked at things like AnyDo, we've looked at Dropbox, we've looked at Google Docs, we've looked at Skydrive and Evernote. What Google Sites lets you do is basically package all of those things up in a presentable way to other people. So you can say, this is the project that we're working on. It's very, very good if you're involved in a collaborative project with another institution who doesn't have a login to get into our tutor systems here. You say, no problem at all. Here's a secure web link, go off to Google, log in, and you're good to go. That's it. There's lots more stuff. If you wanna head out, the main website is paulzlearning.com. On here, you will find that there's a section called Free Resources. It's all broken down into resources for educators and trainers and for individuals in the home. I've had to pick just 5, but there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tools on here, all broken down by function. So no matter whatever it is you want to do, hopefully you'll find something on here, which means you won't have to spend any money on any particular piece of software. So you see that there's loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of stuff. Databases? Yeah, your choices for online easy online databases. Zoho's pretty good, zoho.com, Z-O-H-O. Depending on the type of database you've got, you might be able, and this is what I'm doing with the schools at the moment, you can do it with Google Sites, Google Docs, and you use it with their spreadsheet functions, because most people's databases are really just a load of spreadsheet tables kind of linked together. So, I'm working with a school at the moment to actually say, right, we're going to use a spreadsheet to power a database, which is going to do all the grade tracking for us. But it can be done. But if you want a proper database, like Access or something, Zoho's the one to go for. Well, thank you very much indeed. I haven't bored you too much. And, enjoy the rest of your day.